This is the 2015 season recap. Coach Ben Van Zandt's fourth year as head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers has come to a close, ending the year with an 8-5 overall record and a victory in the Gator Bowl. It was a season that had as many losses as the first 3 years for Coach Ben Van Zandt combined, but it was also a season with a lot of dramatic moments, some exciting victories, and ending the year with some hardware. Let's recap the 2015 season for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We entered the season coming off of the Big Ten Championship and Rose Bowl year before. We started things off on the road, a very challenging matchup, going to the Smurf Turf to take on the Boise State Broncos. We were able to get on the board first in this one. First points coming in the second quarter. Ezra Schultz getting it to Lionel Owens. 18-yard touchdown pass put us up 7-0. Boise State able to tie things up with a 4-yard run from Jones. And then late in the first half, Mackey to Pittman, 37-yard touchdown pass. The Broncos had a 14-7 lead at halftime. We tied things up in the third quarter. Schultz to Fowler, 42-yard touchdown pass. But the Broncos had the answer once again. McFarland a 35-yard field goal, and then Mackey to Harris, touchdown pass. Broncos went into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. They extended it here. Interception from Murphy, returned 37 yards for the touchdown. It was pretty much the final straw on this one. It put the Broncos up by 17 points. Tried to fight back here. Schultz got it to Ostrander, 14-yard touchdown pass, but that is as close as we were able to get. And we started off the season with a loss on the road. This was the first loss in a season opening game for Minnesota under Coach Ben Van Zandt. This was also the first loss for Minnesota under Coach Ben Van Zandt to a non-Big Ten team. 0-1 starts to the year. Then we were back at home in front of our great home fans, taking on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And when Western Kentucky was able to get on the board first in this one, Monroe to Jones, 18-yard touchdown pass. Western Kentucky had a 7-0 lead. Not a great start to us in this game here, but able to respond here. Schultz to Novak, 4-yard touchdown pass. Western Kentucky was able to respond as well. Edwards put them back in front by 7. Schultz to Owens, long touchdown here, 83 yards, tied it up at 14. Then before halftime, we took our first lead. Cox punching in from 1 yard out. In the third quarter, touchdown run here from McLaughlin, doubled our lead. And then Mendoza making a really nice throw here to Ostrander, extending our lead as we start to pull away with things. Fourth quarter, Bradford scooping it up and taking it 66 yards to extend our lead. And then Cox punching it in here. 49-14 ends up being the final score on this one. Not a great start to this one, but shutting out Western Kentucky in the second half, starting to get things rolling. First win of the season, 1-1. Had a bye in week 3, then at home against Kansas. And what a great game this turned out to be. We got on the board first. Schultz to Fowler, touchdown pass. Daly to Martin, Kansas responds. And Schultz to Wagner. We had a 14-7 lead after 1. Kansas control of the second quarter. Daly getting it to Dawson, 10 yards. And then Daly to Young, 6 yards. Kansas had a 21-14 lead at halftime. They extended it in the third quarter. A long run here from Jefferson put them up by 14. Mendoza to Fowler pulled us within 7. Then Mendoza able to scramble and find his way into the end zone to tie things up going into the fourth quarter. Back and forth in the fourth quarter. Daly to Young put them up by 7. Schultz to Edwards tied things up. Getting late in this game, Kansas takes the lead. Bowling hit a 37-yard field goal. And then pressure on late in this one. Schultz leading us down the field, and then a 43-yard touchdown pass to Fowler. 42-38 ends up being the final. Kansas drove down the field late, but we were able to shut them down at the end. Nail-biting victory, put it up to 2-1. Then we went on the road here in week 5 with a 2-1 record, and this was a really, really rough one. No points till the very end of the first quarter. Carter passed to Moses, 69 yards. The Orange had a 7-0 lead after 1. We were able to tie things up in the second quarter. Schultz to Ostrander. But then it was all Syracuse for a long while. Goins touchdown run here. Field goal here from Tompkins. A pick 6 from McCoy for Syracuse. And Goins 2 touchdown runs here late in the first half. 72 yards and then 42 yards. The final play of the first half. 38-7. The Orange destroying us at halftime, and they kept it going into the second half. Goins a 9-yard touchdown run. Goins a 5-yard touchdown run. This game was getting very, very ugly. Mendoza was able to get a touchdown pass here to Ostrander. Syracuse got a field goal. Townsend a nice pick six, good play defensively. Syracuse just kept matching it here. Carter to Hobbs, 43-yard touchdown pass. Touchdown run from Cox here in the first, early on in the fourth quarter. Final points, Carter to Moses, 13 yards, 69-27. We get embarrassed on the road against Syracuse, dropping us to 2-2 as we started Big Ten play, needing to bounce back, and we had a rivalry game at home taking on Iowa to start conference play. Great game here. Iowa on the board first, Van Dyke to Robertson. We got a field goal, 7-3 Iowa after one. Iowa extended their lead here, touchdown run from Myers. And some nice plays here, Schultz to Moss, long touchdown pass. Schultz to Ostrander, another long touchdown pass. Iowa bouncing back, Van Dyke to Cruz, touchdown. And Schultz, 2 touchdown passes here to Owens before halftime. A lot of points in the second quarter. We went into halftime with a 32-21 lead. No points in the third quarter, however, but in the fourth, Van Dyke to Gray, touchdown pass here. Big response, Schultz to Kimbrough, 5-yard touchdown pass. Extended our lead to 2 scores. Van Dyke to Lambert, 38 yards, made it 39-34. Iowa was not able to get any more than that, and we had a big 5-point win at home against our rival, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Then on the road against the Michigan Wolverines, and what a great game this turned out to be. Michigan big-time favorites entering this game. They were able to get on the board first. Hawley a 5-yard run, then Gilmore a 33-yard field goal. 10-0 Michigan after one. We bounced back here in the second quarter. Schultz to Fowler, touchdown pass. Warren to Purify, though, for Michigan. They were up by 10 again, 17-7 at halftime. In the third quarter, defense playing well. Field goal from Bowers made it a 7-point game. Field goal here early in the fourth quarter, cut it down to a 4-point game. Michigan able to get a field goal here to put them up by 7. Late in this one, clutch drive ending with a touchdown run from Kendrick Cox, 1 yard, punching it in. Tied things up. We went to overtime. In the first OT, Schultz, Ostrander, 23-yard touchdown pass. Great work, put the pressure on, but we couldn't stop Michigan. Hawley, a 24-yard touchdown run. Tied things up. Michigan's turn in the second overtime, 19-yard run from Hawley. We were able to respond and get in the end zone, and we decided, after much delay, to go for it, to snap the ball and go for the win in the 2-point conversion. Schultz got it to Ostrander. What a clutch play to win it in double OT, stunning the Wolverines in front of their own fans, 35-34. Great game there. Then we were on the road against Northwestern in Week 8. Wildcats had their way with us here. Long run here from White. He had an incredible game in this one. Cox with a touchdown run. Cutler to Washington, 14-7. Wildcats after one. Tied things up in the second quarter. Schultz to Owens. Then the Wildcats scored the last 17 points in the first half. Long run from White. 45-yard field goal from Wise. And White punching it in. In the third quarter, Northwestern extended their lead. 20-yard run here from White. Tried to fight back. Schultz got it to Owens. Got for the 2-point conversion as well. And then McLaughlin, a 5-yard touchdown run here, 2-point conversion as well. Down from 24, made it an 8-point game, but that is the last points we were able to get in this one. 38-30 ends up being the final score. It's our first loss under Coach Ben Van Zandt that was decided by single digits. And we fell again here, our first Big Ten loss. Had a bye in Week 9, then back at home in Week 10 against Nebraska. And things started off with some big defensive plays in the first quarter. Powell a pick 6 for us, and then Alexander a pick 6 for Nebraska, 7-7 after one. Cornhuskers took the lead early second quarter. Young to Johnson, touchdown pass. Couple of touchdown passes. Schultz to Fowler in the first half. Gave us a 21-14 lead at halftime. We doubled it in the third quarter. Wilkerson a nice touchdown run. And Norman a 70-yard run for the Cornhuskers. 7-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Big touchdown run here from Cox, made it a 14-point lead, and then right here, Murphy returning the fumble, 40 yards, put us up by 21, basically sealed the deal. Portis was able to get a touchdown run for the Cornhuskers to make it 42-28, and that ends up being the final score. Nice bounce back for us. Then Week 11 on the road against Indiana. Another great game here, back and forth. Hoosiers, Henley to Townsend, first points of the game. Then Schultz to Fowler, tied things up. Henley to Moss, 67 yards. Hoosiers had a 14-7 lead after one. Hendrick Cox, a touchdown run here, tied it up again. Then field goals exchange, Smith, then Bowers. Halftime 17-17. Henley to Leckthaler gave the Hoosiers a 7-point lead. Then Henley to Hartman made it a 14-point lead for the Hoosiers. Kendrick Cox, a run late in the third quarter, made it a 7-point game. Able to tie things up in the fourth. Kendrick Cox, touchdown run. Then got the ball back, looking to take the lead. Boom, pick six. Francis returned at 49 yards, and the Hoosiers moved up by 7 in the fourth quarter. We were able to get a big response. Great running here. McLaughlin punched it in and decided to go for a 2-point conversion, and again able to pick up a clutch 2-point conversion to take a 1-point lead. Still over half the fourth quarter left to play at that point, but that ends up being the final score. A big-time 39-38 win on the road against Indiana that gave us bowl eligibility. Thrilling win there. Then on the road against Michigan State, a game that we needed to stay alive in the Big Ten race, and Michigan State, similar to what they were able to do to us in the 2013 season when we went on the road against Michigan State, they just dominated the game. Ham, touchdown run, first points of the game. Smith to Dowdell, touchdown pass, 14-0 Spartans after one. 21-0 here, Dixon, touchdown run. Spartans up by 3 touchdowns at halftime. Tried to fight back here, Gorman to Fowler, 8-yard touchdown pass, put us on the board. Field goal here from Justice gave them a 24-7 lead going into the fourth quarter. They extended it, Smith to Setzer, touchdown pass. Gorman to Moss, trying to fight back, not able to get the 2-point conversion. The last points end up being Smith to Green, 11-yard touchdown pass as Michigan State wins it 38-13. That eliminated us from Big Ten contention. Tough loss there against a very good Michigan State team. Then we were back at home taking on Illinois, a ranked matchup. Illinois got on the board first. Baldwin, a 12-yard touchdown run, 7-0 for them. Bowers put us on the board with a 40-yard field goal. Some really strong kicking from Hamilton for Illinois. Long field goal made it 10-3. That was the score at halftime. Then it made it 13-3 in the third quarter. Another long kick. Mendoza to Owens, 57-yard touchdown pass, pulled us back in within 3. But Illinois had a quick response, manning 75 yards. Really, that one really hurt there. Then another field goal here from Hamilton. Gorman got it to Fowler, a touchdown pass here. Tried to fight back at the very end. This 53-yarder from Hamilton was the nail in the coffin. 26-17 ends up being the final as we drop back-to-back games for the first time under Coach Ben Van Zandt. Week 14, the biggest rivalry for us, the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Could we take Wisconsin down again? And what a great game this was. Intense rivalry. Everything was pointing towards Wisconsin being able to end their losing streak in this rivalry series. That was not the way things went. Wisconsin got on the board first. 25-yard field goal from Houston. 3-0 Badgers after one. Touchdown pass here. Gorman to Owens. 7-3 at halftime. We had the lead. Back and forth in this one. Jennings to Jackson. Put the Badgers in front by 3. Touchdown run here from McLaughlin. Put us up by 4. Huge touchdown here. Kendrick Cox. 10-yard touchdown run. We went for the 2-point conversion to try to force them to get 2 touchdowns. We failed at it. Badgers able to get a touchdown run here from Humphrey. Made it a 20-17 game. But our defense able to hold on in the end, and we were able to take down the Wisconsin Badgers once again, extending that winning streak in this very intense rivalry, and able to bounce back after the 2 back-to-back losses. Dealing with some injuries this season. Quarterback position, Ezra Schultz missed the second half of the regular season. We're doing a combination with Gorman and Mendoza at quarterback. Was struggling a bit against Michigan State and Illinois, but able to get the job done against Wisconsin. Ended the regular season 7-5. Then we went to the Gator Bowl against the Florida Gators. What a great game this was as well. Looking to make it 4 straight seasons with bowl victories. We went down here to Florida to take on the Gators, and they started things off with a bang. 75-yard touchdown run from Phillips right away. Florida up 7-0. Thompson a 20-yard field goal. Florida had a 10-0 lead after one. They were able to extend it in the second quarter. Good work from our defense, keeping them to field goals. Thompson hitting three straight field goals for the Gators to give them a 16-0 lead. Everything going Florida's way. As for Schultz, playing in his final game in a Golden Gopher uniform, coming off the injury, and he ended up having a really big game in this one. Schultz to Ostrander got us on the board, 19-yard touchdown pass. And Schultz to Fowler, 31 yards. Incredible ending to the first half for us as we got 13 quick points and put us right back into the game, trailing at halftime 16-13. Early on in the third quarter, a nice play here. Schultz to Fowler, 61 yards, gave us our first lead. Then Schultz finds Owens' 8-yard touchdown pass, extends our lead. Then in the fourth quarter, this one here, Schultz to Ostrander. It was pretty much game over at that point as we score the final 34 points in the game and end up winning it 34-16 to become Gator Bowl champions over the Gators. What a great ending to the season. The season had some ups and downs for sure, but ending the season with a huge win in the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe, and then of course ending the season with the victory in the Gator Bowl over the Gators. Finished the season with an 8-5 overall record. Gator Bowl champions, another winning and successful year for Minnesota under Coach Ben Van Zandt. Now let's take a look at the final standings, conference standings from around the nation. Starting here in the ACC. Congratulations to Virginia Tech, ACC champions. I'll look at the Big 12. Congratulations to Oklahoma, Big 12 champs. Look at the Big East, USF. Congratulations, South Florida, Big East champions. Look at the Big 10. Goes to Wisconsin. Congratulations to the Badgers, getting back to the championship and winning the Big 10 title. Conference USA, congratulations, Southern Miss going undefeated in conference play. Look here at the Independents. I'll look at the MAC. Congratulations to Toledo. Toledo Rockets MAC champions. Mountain West goes to BYU. Pac-12. Congratulations to the Cal Golden Bears. Great season for Cal, Pac-12 champions. Look at the SEC. Congratulations, Georgia Bulldogs, undefeated SEC champions. Look at the Sun Belt. Bit of a tie there. Troy, the champs in the Sun Belt, and a tie in the WAC as well, but Louisiana Tech and the WAC champions. Let's look at the conference standings. Now here as I look at the bowl results. Look at all the bowl games here. Boise State falling in the New Mexico Bowl. Syracuse putting up 51, the Beef O'Brady's Bowl, getting the win there. Ohio State winning the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl over Bowling Green. UCLA winning the Alamo Bowl over Texas. Louisville winning the Champ Sports Bowl. Northwestern winning the Insight Bowl over Baylor. Washington winning the Meineke Car Care Bowl over Penn State. Alabama winning the Outback Bowl over Illinois. Michigan winning the Capital One Bowl over South Carolina. And here we are, Minnesota winning the Gator Bowl over Florida. Iowa Ticket City Bowl win over SMU. And look at the BCS Bowls. In a very exciting Rose Bowl, Cal is able to defeat Wisconsin 38-34. Cal Rose Bowl champions. Notre Dame winning the Sugar Bowl over Oklahoma State 52-35. The Orange Bowl, Virginia Tech wins it 48-13 over USF. Fiesta Bowl, Michigan State 38-28 victory over Oregon. And the BCS National Championship game featured Georgia, number 1. They entered the game undefeated against Oklahoma, number 2. Entered the game with 1 loss. And Georgia took control of this one early. Long touchdown pass here. Williams to Green, 62 yards, put the Bulldogs up 7-0 very early. They got in the end zone again not long after. 10-yard run from Rogers, 14-0 Bulldogs. Oklahoma got on the board. Hall to Gordon, 14-7 Georgia led after 1. They extended their lead here, getting late in the second quarter. They had 2 huge plays. Baker, a 6-yard run, and then getting very late in the first half, likely just looking to run the clock out, but Baker broke it, 92 yards. That made it a 28-7 game. Huge play there for Georgia. They went into halftime with a 21-point lead. They extended it in the third quarter. Rogers, a 1-yard touchdown run. Oklahoma able to get a touchdown here in the third quarter, trying to stay in the game. Here's a safety here recorded for the Sooners that made it a 35-16 game, but last points of the game ended up being scored by Rogers, punching in from 2 yards out. Georgia running away with this one, 42-16. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. For the second time in 3 years, Georgia is the national champions. They win it 42-16 over the Oklahoma Sooners. That is a look at all the bowl games. I'll take a look here at the final top 25. The final top 25, number 1, of course, is the Georgia Bulldogs. They finished the season 14-0 and national champions. So again, Georgia able to do it. What a year it was. Started things off, they were really in control, taking care of business, winning almost every game quite comfortably. Missouri gave them a battle. They were able to win it at home by 5. Florida gave them a battle, able to win at home by 3. Then, so it's a huge matchup against South Carolina. Both teams were highly ranked and undefeated, and Georgia just dominated that game at home, 51-17. Took care of business against Auburn and Georgia Tech to finish off their regular season. SEC championship game against LSU. Georgia able to find a way to win it, 34-24. And then the BCS National Championship game, Georgia takes down the Oklahoma Sooners, 42-16 to finish the total season 14-0 and claim the national title. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. What a very impressive season. Finishing number 2 is the Michigan State Spartans from the Big Ten. They finished with an 11-2 record. Great year from Michigan State. Started things off, a couple of solid wins. Tough loss on the road against Notre Dame. Bounced back really strong, some big victories. Solid battles against Iowa and Illinois on the road. They were able to win. Took a loss at home against Michigan, the rival there. Wolverines able to have better with them that one. But Michigan State bounced back the next week. An exciting win at home against Ohio State. That was a huge victory. Took care of business against Northwestern, against us, against Indiana. And then finished off their season a big victory against Oregon. And they ended up number 2. Cal, what a great season for the Cal Golden Bears, finishing 12-2. Started things off, a couple of nice wins. Taking down USC, that was a very big win, and then taking down the defending national champions, Texas, in dominant fashion on the road. Huge win on the road against Oregon, big Pac-12 game. Took their first loss of the season at home by 8 against Auburn. Bounced back, a nice, important win on the road against Washington. Disappointing loss on the road against UCLA, 44-41 in overtime. They finished off things very strong. Some close wins against Utah, Arizona State, Oregon State. Took care of business against Stanford. Took care of business against Utah, and then able to defeat Wisconsin in that major bowl game there to finish off season 12-2 Rose Bowl champs. Great year for Cal. Number 4, the Michigan Wolverines, 12-2. Won their first 4 games of the season, including that huge victory against Notre Dame. First loss for Notre Dame in the regular season in quite a while. We handed them their first loss in double OT. Final play of the game, a gutsy decision paid off for us. Tough loss there for the Wolverines, but they bounced back very strong, taking care of business against Purdue. Massive win by 17 on the road against Michigan State. Took care of business against Penn State, Nebraska, Northwestern. Won by 8 against Iowa. Beat Ohio State, huge win there, of course. And went to the Big Ten Championship. It was a good game, but not able to get the win against Wisconsin, 34-27. They lost. Then they bounced back, taking down South Carolina in their bowl for their 12th win. Very good year from Michigan. Oklahoma finishes number 5, 11-2. Great year for Oklahoma. Started things off really nice. Close win on the road against Tennessee. Taking care of business. Big win against Texas. Win against West Virginia. First loss of the season at home by 14 against TCU. Bounced back, close win against Baylor. Dominant win on the road against Oklahoma State. That was a huge win. Finished off the regular season with the win against Kansas State. Ended up number 2. Ended up getting with a berth to the BCS National Championship game. They were underdogs against Georgia, and they were not able to get it done. 42-16. They lose in the national title to finish 11-2. Finished number 5 in the coaches poll. TCU finishes number 6, and 11-2 record for them as well. Started things off strong, 5-0, close win against SMU. Tough loss at home against West Virginia by 3. And they bounced back, winning some nice games. Big victory on the road against Oklahoma State. Overtime win against Kansas State on the road. Finished off the season a big win at home against Texas. Then a loss against Oklahoma State in overtime, 51-45. Who knows what would happen if they were able to win that game. Maybe they would have got a trip to the national championship instead of losing it in OT, and then getting a victory against Missouri in their bowl for their 11th win. Very solid year nonetheless for TCU. Notre Dame, number 7, they finish. 11-2 record for the Fighting Irish. Started things off a huge win against Texas, but then a rough loss on the road against Michigan State. Some close wins, Michigan State, at Purdue, Wake Forest, all close games. And started playing some really good football, blowing out Mississippi State, UMass, Stanford, Navy. Overtime loss, a stunner against Boston College. Boston College able to take them down in OT, 47-41. Then Notre Dame able to finish off the season strong. Louisiana Lafayette, USC, and Oklahoma State, no problem. They defeat Oklahoma State in their bowl, 52-35. Oklahoma State finishes number 8, 10-3 record for the Cowboys. They started things off very strong, winning a bunch of games. Impressive win as it turned out on the road against Air Force. Continued cruising Kansas State, Iowa State putting up a bunch of points. Taking out West Virginia. Then on the road, a huge game on the road against Texas. They ended up losing it by 7. Then the next week they got blown out against their big rivals at home, Oklahoma. Finished off the season a huge win on the road against TCU to finish off the regular season in OT, but then losing in their bowl game against Notre Dame. They finished number 8. Oregon finishes number 9, also 10-3. Ducks lost their second game of the season on the road against Stanford, and lost a heartbreaker at home, 1 point against Cal, 2-2 start for the Ducks. And they started winning a bunch of games. Big victory at home against Utah, close game there. Close win against USC. Low-scoring game, big victory against Washington. Took down Oregon State to end the regular season for their 10th win. Finished regular season 10-2, and lost a good game against Michigan State in their bowl to finish 10-3 at number 9. Southern Miss finishes number 10. They finished with a 12-2 record. The Golden Eagles started things off blowing out Texas A&M on the road, a very impressive start. Then the very next week, they got blown out themselves on the road against Nebraska, and losing by 16 against Mississippi State. They were 1-2. Then they just started taking over and winning some ball games, blowing out Tulsa, won by 13 against Marshall. Some close games, Memphis, Houston, taking care of business against UAB, close one against UCF, then blowing out some teams, UMass, Tulsa, ECU, taking care of business against Tulsa in their conference championship game for the rematch, and then they defeat Cincinnati in their bowl to finish 12-2 and number 10 in the coaches poll. Congratulations to Southern Miss, great year for them. Now here's a final look at the top 25. We end up number 18 in the coaches poll with the 8-5 record, and end up number 18, finishing off the season with a couple of strong, impressive wins. Let's look at the final teams getting votes. Pound teams just outside the top 25. Now let's take a look at the final stats for the year here for the Golden Gophers. Ezra Schultz was our starter. Start of the year, got knocked out around midway through the season. Missed the second half of the year, then came back in for the bowl for us. He ends up with a 151 QBR, 189 for 296, 2,462 yards passing, 27 touchdowns to 19 INTs. This is the end of his college career. Not the greatest touchdown to interception ratio here this season for him and for us overall, but he had some incredible moments his junior year and some incredible moments this year as well. He is a Minnesota legend as well, as so many have become under Coach Ben Van Zandt. Bradley Gorman stepped in fourth. He ended up being 40 of 64, 560 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 INTs. And Alex Mendoza, he ended up 36 of 70, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 INTs. Too many turnovers overall as a team, but had some good moments. Certainly was not for a lack of effort. Jeff Arnold also threw a pass. He was our punter. We tried a fake punt, did not work out, incomplete. Look at the rushing yards. Kendrick Cox led with 636 yards, 147 attempts. He had 10 touchdowns. McLaughlin, 59 attempts. Wilkerson, 54 attempts. 4 touchdowns for McLaughlin, 1 for Wilkerson. Kimbrough had 30 attempts. Rushing-wise, he did not get into the end zone. Ezra Schultz ended up with 40 official attempts. He had 1 rushing touchdown. Alex Mendoza had 1 rushing touchdown as well. Caldwell with 2 attempts. Gorman with 8 official attempts for himself. Receiving-wise, Martell Fowler, what a career. 54 catches, 986 yards, and 12 touchdowns in his senior season. A record setter here at Minnesota. What a career in college. Martell Fowler, a legend. Robert Ostrander, what a career for him as well. He ends up with 46 catches, 821 yards, and 8 touchdowns in his senior year. And it is also a career for Elena Owens, 44 catches and 9 touchdowns in his senior year. All great work from our senior receivers. Michael Moss had 36 catches. He had 2 touchdowns. McLaughlin had 24 catches. Vince Edwards ended up with 18 catches. He had 1 touchdown. Kendrick Cox had 13. Cornelius Wagner had 12. He had a touchdown reception. Luke Kimbrough had 8 catches. He had a touchdown reception as well. Wilkerson and Novak with 4 catches. Novak had a touchdown reception, and Willie Caldwell had 2 catches. The blocking stats here. Defensively, Townsend led in tackles. Bradford was second. Logan was third. 3 INTs for Wayne Townsend. And he had a defensive touchdown. Eric Bradford also with a defensive touchdown. Did not have any INTs this year. Ryan Logan, great season from him. And Bryce Bennett, great year from him as well. Jordan Murphy in his senior year, great season from him. Great career at Minnesota for Jordan Murphy. Chauncey Tidwell, the sophomore, had 3 INTs for us. Touchdown was scored from Skylar Powell in his freshman year. He had 1 INT he took to the house. 1 INT for Tyreek Fuller and Draymond Cole as well. Manning, nice work. Bunch of tackles for Manning. And Miller and Williams also in double-digit tackles. Now look at everyone who recorded a defensive stat this season. Defense certainly had some at times where they were struggling this year for us. Toward the end of the season, started to get things going, and we would not have won the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe, or we would not have won the Gator Bowl if it wasn't for our defense stepping up and being clutch for us. kicking stats, just 5 field goals attempted for Stephen Bowers in his sophomore year, and he hit all 5 of them along with 46. It was 45 of 45 in extra points. Can't ask for anything better for Stephen Bowers. Punt-wise, Jeff Arnold, 34 punt attempts. He signed 25 touchbacks. Kick return, Brenton Shelton in his senior year, 47 kick returns. Long of 63. Did not have any returns for a touchdown this year. Fowler had 1 kick return attempt. Shelton 19 punt return attempts. Long of 18 yards returned there. That is the final season stats. And that is it for the 2015 season. The Minnesota Golden Gophers and Coach Ben Van Zant's 4th year. Another successful, another winning season. Finishing with an 8-5 record. Ending the regular season with a big victory against our rival Wisconsin in the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. And then ending the season overall with the 4th straight bowl victory for Minnesota. What a run it has been. Taking down the Florida Gators in the Gator Bowl. That is it for the 2015 season. Another great year for Minnesota football. Let's go Golden Gophers.